Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games back with another cool pinball repair video for you this evening. We have been working on this beautiful Bally Wizard pinball machine, and we've about got it going, but it's got a bunch of little issues that's happening. So we did a video where we worked all through the bottom of the game and cleaned everything down there, adjusted a bunch of switches and things, and rebuilt stepper units. We did another one where we worked all through the playfield, the bottom of it and the top of it, to get it in the beautiful condition that it's in now. And then we did another one where we worked in the back box, replaced the bulbs and stuff in the behind the back glass, which is in perfect, I said perfect condition. And then we also worked on all of the mechanics in the back of the back box. So if you didn't see that, go back and check it out. Now that means we've worked over every little thing in the machine, but it still isn't working right. So I'm gonna make a list in this video, and we'll systematically, like a plan, man, go through and fix every little thing that I can find with it that needs repaired. Now the first thing I'm going to fix is the ball and play light is not working. We're in the middle of a game right now, but you would never know it because it doesn't tell you what ball you're on. I think we're on ball number 1 or 2 or something like that. It's one of the 5 balls for show. So I don't know why that's not working. So we'll look through the schematics, see if we can figure it out, and maybe we'll fix that first, because that will help us troubleshoot the rest of the game. We've also got some issues where stuff is sticking on. The bonus doesn't seem to be lighting up. We've just got a bunch of stuff going on. So stay tuned. Let me find the schematics and let's see what makes the ball and play light tick. All right, so here's the area of the schematics that shows all of that. So the ball count unit disc has a wire here that connects to one of the little fingers on the ball count unit. Now we've already messed with that, so that shouldn't be it. And it doesn't seem to matter which ball you're on, it just doesn't work. Now I've replaced the light bulbs. It could be that finger isn't making good contact, or the wire's broken or something like that. Now this is the player up unit, which works pretty much the same way, and if you notice, it's connected to the same source. This one's working. Now if you look down here on the other side of it, you see the light bulbs, and then they all connect through the game over relay. So if the game is over, it turns off the ball and play and the ball count unit disc. Basically, they don't get power to this side of the light bulbs anymore. But on specifically the ball count unit disc, there is an adjustment for balls per game. You can have it set on 3 or you can have it set on 5. It could be that that adjustment isn't connected right, so we could check that. And then it also could just be the lights are in the head of the back box and the ball count unit is in the body of the back box, which means they're connected with little plugs where it goes into the head. They don't ever draw that on the schematics, but there are plugs just like this for all of these, because the ball count unit is in the bottom of the game and the light bulbs are in the top of the game. Actually, now that I look at it, the only thing that changes on the 3 or 5 is the 4th and 5th bulb, so that wouldn't be it. So that has nothing to do with it. So we've either got a bad connection on the finger going to the ball count unit, or we've got a bad connection on the wiring where it plugs into the head. So the way you can figure that out is you can just wiggle the wires while the thing's on and see if the light pops on. So we'll try that first. So it's dead. Now the thing is, though, you got 5 different bulbs, which probably have 5 different wires. So the odds that it would just be the wiring in the head is not that great. So I'm wiggling the connectors right now. Yeah, that didn't do nothing. That didn't do nothing. Okay, so let me just look physically back there just to make sure there's not a bunch of wires broke or anything obvious. I didn't see that. And then we'll look at the ball count unit in the bottom again. So if you lift one of these play fields, especially on these Bally's, up while the game is in play, which is what's happening right now, you have to be careful in any of them that have a spinner, because what will happen is you'll lift it up, which moves the spinner, and will connect the switch underneath it to where it's always on, which will lock on one of your score relays and screw you all up. Now this one is adjusted just far enough apart that hasn't happened. But if you lift up the playfield and you hear something start buzzing, it's because your spinner's hanging and the switch is stuck shut. Okay, so this is the ball count unit. And it's a really simple little design. One of these little fingers connects power to a different wire depending on what position it's in. which makes it ball 1, ball 2, ball 3, ball 4, or ball 5. You can mess with that while the game is on. So that's home position. That's probably ball 2, ball 3, ball 4, ball 5. So, see how you have two of these here? As that goes forward, one of these is going to be the ball in play. And when I'm messing with it, nothing's happening. Now, if you're worried about, oh, you'll get shocked, yeah, you might get nibbled a little bit. But it's like 40 volts or something, so it's not the end of the world. But on these, since it's running a light bulb, you've got like 6 volts running there. Yeah, nothing is making that come on. But the 1 to 4 can play is working. Alright, I must have a broken wire or something somewhere. Let me dig around a little bit and see if I can find anything obvious. Alright, so I figured it out. I misread the schematic. This is confusing, and it just confused me on tape. I'm going to leave it in here so you can see that even those of us that have worked on hundreds of machines still get screwed up. So it was the ball in play unit and also the player up unit, but I was looking at this. That's not the same thing. So you see how it says 1 to 4 can play? So it says 1, but that's not the player, that's not the whatever I was talking about. These aren't lit up. 1, 2, 3, 4. So those aren't working either. So since they're not working and the ball count unit's not working, it's probably the switch on the game over relay. So if you go to the game over relay, so it's pulled that way. Now we've already adjusted all this. This is pulled in. But you can see as I wiggle it, we get our ball and play light back. We get our 1 player light up. We get our bonus on the play field working and the various other lights. So, yeah, so we just got a bad switch, misadjusted switch there. So let me mess with that a little bit to where it's working reliably, and then we'll move on to the next thing. Alright, so I think they're all on now, and I ran through the bonus unit. It looked like all them worked. I think every light bulb works. Got the ball and play working. Same player shoots again working. And I think I did the over the top ones in the previous video. So if you look, you can score. I can figure out how to do it. Where is it? 100,000 points. So whenever this gets to 99,990, the next 10 points you get makes it 100,000, which will just roll it over to 0. So instead of putting another reel, they just put a little light that says 100,000. So you can turn on all of them. Normally you would do it by being good enough to get all those points. But I'm doing it by being good enough to know where to hit the relay in. Okay, yes, yeah, so I think every light bulb is working on it now. I don't know if all of the ball and play ones are, but I believe so. So let's play it a little bit and see if we can tell if anything else isn't working and go from there. And we'll just slowly repair any issues that we run into. So it's basically going to score all kinds of points when this ball falls down because I've clicked up all of the lights up to like their maximum of everything. Yeah, that's not scoring anything. Check it out. Nothing scoring. Or that was all 100, so we'll see what happens. Okay, I'm not sure if that was correct, but all right, let's just do it by hand. Well, how about that? What do you think about doing it by hand? So we got this little rollover here. That's scoring 10 points. And it's reliably scoring 10 points. And it just went from 490 to 500 on the back box, so it's rolling over. And this one should do the same probably. Same thing, so that's working just fine. If I hit this one, it says flag 1 and 100 points. So we're at 2,600. Okay, so it did not do what it's supposed to do. On the back box, it stayed at 2600. I saw the 6 twitch. You're hearing a humming. I didn't score 100 points, and it did not flip the flag either. So something is wrong there. Let's see if we can figure out what that is. So this stuff gets a little confusing, so you have to just look through the schematic slowly and think about what's going on. So we just hit the number 1 target. So when we did that, we connected power from here through that switch down to here, and we started hearing a humming. That's because it probably turned on the number 1 relay. Okay. The number 1 relay, once it turned on, held itself on through a switch on itself, the number 1 relay. That will provide power to this whenever this is no longer connected, like whenever my finger came off of it. Right? So now it's getting power this way. If you look, it'll connect all the way back up to there. Now, how will that eventually stop? It will stop when the number 1 flip relay turns on. The number 1 flip relay has a switch on it that's always connected, but as soon as that relay comes on, it will open that switch, which will kill power to the number 1 relay. Now, you may say, why is there a number 1 relay and a number 1 flip relay? Blah, blah, blah. It's just complex stuff. They needed all of that. Okay, so it appears that the number 1 relay is on, but the number 1 flip relay has not came on. We haven't scored 100 points, although it tried to, and it didn't flip the flag. So let's see if the number 1 flip relay, let's see what makes it turn on. So here is the number 1 flip solenoid. So that's the little thing that flips the flag over on the playfield. The way it works is it gets power either through the number 1 relay or the number 1 flip relay. Now we just turned on the number 1 relay, so that should have sent power to the number 1 flip solenoid, right? And whenever the number 1 flip solenoid comes on, it's basically just going to pop that flag over to the other side. When it does, it will change this switch. So as the thing is sitting there, it's connected as it's drawn. Okay. Once it physically flips the flag over, it's going to hit this side of the switch, and power will come through here and would have tripped it if the number 1 relay isn't pulled in. But the number 1 relay is pulled in, so that is now open. So it's confusing as hell, but how do we get our 100 points? Let's find that. So here's another switch on the number 1 relay that is going to connect power to the 100 point relay and turn it on. So did that happen? I think it did, because I saw the 100, the 600, the number 6, I saw it pull in. Like it went and moved a little bit. Now the other way you can check that is we turned off the machine so it wouldn't burn up. If I'm correct and that had pulled in, when we turned off the machine, it would let go of it and it would naturally advance 100 points. So it should be on 700 in the machine now. And it is. So let me show you why that works. We'll do it on this one. This isn't the hundreds, but this little coil pulls in. And if you look, when it pulls in, it doesn't actually turn the reel. So if it were to lock in, the reel would not be turned. Bzzz, right? But as soon as you turn off power, this coil is no longer activated, and it lets the plunger back out, which turns the reel. So since the wheel did turn, and it's on 700, the 100 points was actually pulling in, so that was working. But it didn't flip the flag. And of course it didn't flip the flag when we turned it off, because it doesn't work like that. So why did the 100 pull in and then not release? Well, it's probably because the number 1 relay was just stuck on, right? So remember, we looked on the other part, and that would stay on until the number 1 relay reset. Is that what it was? Let's find it. where was it? So the number 1 relay will stay on through a switch on itself until the number 1 flip relay opens up that switch. So we're scoring the 100 points, but it won't let go because the number 1 relay is locked on because of that switch. So we got to go back to the number 1 flip relay and see what opens that switch. Like I said, some of this gets really confusing. Now, it didn't say the number 1 flip solenoid. That's the actual coil. It said the relay. But the problem we have is there is a trip and a latch. Okay, so when the when the number 1 relay came in, it should have hit the number 1 flip solenoid and make the flag flip, but it didn't. So we got one of a couple problems. It could be this switch on the number 1 relay isn't connecting right. Or it could be this switch on the number 1 flip relay isn't connected right. Because this is the part of this system that never happened. The 100 points did pull in, just didn't release yet. And we heard the buzzing where the number 1 relay is pulling in, which is also needed to score the 100 points, so that obviously happened. But we never saw that flag move at all. So something right here isn't working. And it's probably either this switch on the number 1 relay or this switch on the number 1 flip relay is stuck open instead of closed. So I'm going to look at those 2 switches and we'll figure it out. Okay, so now remember I've already looked through all of these, but that doesn't mean I got it perfect. Number 2 flip, number 3 flip, number 4 flip. This is the number 1 flip relay. So there's a switch on it that should be normally closed to provide power. That was that top switch I was just showing you on the schematics. If you look at the back, there are 4 switches back there that are normally open. And if you look at the front, there are 4 switches here that are normally closed. So the way you figure it out is you just wiggle it and see how they look. That's obviously closed, right? See, it's always touching. That one, always closed. That one, always closed. But look at this one. This one's open. You can barely tell. So this one needs adjusted a little bit. It should always be closed. Now it is. Whenever this trips, it should open. And it does. So it's open. And then when it pulls in, it's closed. So all 4 of the front ones are closed. All 4 of the back ones are open. If you trip it, all 4 of the back ones. Ooh, what do we got? So closed and open. I don't like the looks of that either. And then what's going on with this one? Oh, this one's a make or break. Yeah, this one's a make break on the back. So it's a little complex. So I'm going to work on that a little bit, make sure I got them all working both ways. Basically, when it pulls in, it should close. If it's already closed, when it pulls in, it should open. Right? It's just as simple as that. So I need to adjust 1 or 2 of them on there, and then we'll try it again. All right, let's see if that fixed it. So if I hit this, it should flip the flag and give me 100 points. We're at 1020 right now. Flip the flag, and now we're at 1120. It also turned off this light, turned off this light, and turned on that light. So similarly, when I hit 2, it should flip the flag. We should get 100 points. It should turn off that light. I think it's the only one for the second one. And it should turn on that light. We got our 100 points. It flipped it, turned off the light, and it turned on that light. Okay, so 3, same thing. This is 3, the 3 light, and that light. And we should get 100 points. We're at 1320. Worked, turned on the light, turned off that light. Okay, now the 4th one, if I hit this, it should turn off that light, turn off the light up there, flip the flag, turn on that light, and give me 100 points. So it should be 1420. Yeah, so it turned off the light, turned off the light, turned on the light, flipped the flag, and gave me 100 points. So all of that seems to be working right. Now the reason those flip is because they're making things happen. So the one says lights the thumper bumpers, but they're not lit. The other one says lights the center target, but it's not lit. The other one says lights the double bonus, but it's not lit. And the other one says lights the spinner, but it's not lit. So none of that happened I wonder though if that's the switch. Yeah, I think you have to hit the switch for it to do that. Let's see if that works. So if I hit the top one, it should light the thumper bumpers. And it reset them all. Okay, so let's do the fourth one again. So it says lights the spinner. It's all lit. They all lit, so I can, you know, as soon as I hit the first thing, it lit every one of them. So that it was supposed to. The double bonus, the center target, the spinner, and the 2 pop bumpers. So I guess all that's proper. Let's see if that stuff simply scores right. So we're at 2120. This should give us 100. It did. So did that one. So did that one. This one always gives you 100. You can't turn that off. It's just part of the game. All right, so this one down here says advanced bonus and 500 points. So we're at 2420. We're at 2920 now, and it did advance the bonus. So when you go from 9 to 10, the next one should leave on the 10 and then go to 1,000. All right, this one says 1,000 points, and it did. We're not getting a chime with that, though. So we're getting our 1,000 points, but no chime. Let's collect the bonus and see if we get a chime as it's counting down. So we're at 7920, and we should get 11,000. The double bonus turned off. Wasn't that lit, though? So we should get 11,000. So 18,920. But we should hear a chime, you would think, with 1,000. 18,920. All right, so we got 8920. So why would that be? It's because whenever the 1,000 reel got up to 9, the next time it rolled over, it didn't go to 10, it just stayed at 9. It rolled back over to 0. Right? So that's not working right. So we need to figure out why that reel is not rolling over to the next reel. And then also we need to figure out why the chime's not working. So let's do the chime first. That's probably going to be the easiest. So here are the 3 chimes. They work really similar on just about any game. They are simply turned on when the relay for that chime pulls in. So the 10-point relay makes the 10-point chime bong. The 100-point relay makes the 100-point chime do its thing. And the 1,000-point relay makes the 1,000-point chime sing for you. So if that's not working, you've only got a small little thing it can be. Often it is just the switch on the relay is not connecting. You just need to adjust that to make sure it's squeezing nice like it should. Sometimes it's a physical problem with the chime. Sometimes even if it's been sitting a long time, the little plunger inside the chime coil will be stuck. It'll just be physically stuck to the rubber on the bottom of the chime unit. So it could be something physically stuck, or it could be that switch is misadjusted. So we'll check it out after I talk to my brother Donnie. All right, so we have not messed with the chimes yet. If you look, there's the 10, the 100, and the 1,000. The plunger is actually stuck up. Now, if you're just doing a quick repair on this, sometimes you can just get the thing to not be stuck anymore. If I can keep from shocking myself on video. But sometimes it's all screwed up and the little sleeve is messed up. So I just got it to fall back. Let's see if it works now. So a quick way you can test something like that is to just pull in the point relay. So literally the problem was it was stuck. So the other problem was whenever it got to 9,000, it didn't move up to 10,000. Now this machine only has a 10-point, 100-point, and 1,000-point relay. So there's no relay to give you 10,000 points. So the way the 10,000-point reel moves is based on the 1,000-point relay. I'll show you. So this is the player up unit disc. It moves from player 1 to player 2 to player 3 to player 4, and then back to player 1. So this will slide depending on which player is up. So you have the 10-point relay. Whenever it pulls in, because you made 10 points, it's going to go through this wire and turn on the first player coil. Right? That's the first drum unit on the first player. So the 10-point drum on the first player. This switch will then close. I guess they close on this. Will close. Yeah, oh yeah, it would close if it's not on 0. So that's just how it resets. Okay, so there's going to be no end of stroke one on the 10-point one. Is that correct? Nah, it's probably just drawn a different way. So anyway, so that's the deal. Same thing with the 100-point relay. Whenever it pulls in, depending on which one you're connected to, it's going to turn on that drum, either for the first player, second player, third player, or fourth player. So same thing with the 1,000-point one, but here's where it gets tricky. Let's say you need to score 10,000 points. So you need to go from 9,000 to 10,000. So you need to move the 9 to 0, like it usually does, which is what happened with ours. But we didn't get the 0 on the 10,000 to move to 1. So what makes that happen? It's another switch on the 1,000-point relay. This whole thing. What is the first player switch? Okay. So 1,000 to 9,000 units, 9th position switch. So what happens is whenever this 1,000-point reel gets to the 9th position and says 9, it will close that switch. So the next time the 1,000-point relay pulls in, one switch is going to turn the 9 into a 0 by just moving it one more position. And then since that 9th position is closed, this will be closed, and another switch on the 1,000-point relay will send power through and turn this one from 0 to 1. Now, if all of this is really confusing to you, don't worry about it. It is kind of confusing. Just let it soak in. Osmosis is a great thing. So, if you're having the same problem on every player, then this is likely your problem here, this switch. But if it's only on the first player, this is likely your problem. If you were to look at this switch and this switch, you would likely find the problem. So that's what we're going to do. All right, so I figured it out. I'll show you in the game. Second player worked fine, third player worked fine, fourth player worked fine, first player did not work. It ended up being a still dirty spot on this player unit right here where that little finger touches. Since it sits there all the time on a one-player game, it was kind of, what's the word, oxidized, corroded a little bit, whatever, where it was just darker than the rest of it. Cleaning that up, getting it nice and shiny like it should be, now it makes good contact and it works. So this is the player up unit. It's on player 1 right now. No, now it's on player 1. Player 1, player 2, player 3, player 4. So these big traces here that are kind of double wide, that's the first player. So all of these fingers end up there. This particular one right here is what connects to the blue and red wire, which is what connects to this switch, and on and on and on. So that little contact wasn't making good contact with the whoa, got a lot of thunder and lightning outside. I thought I got fried. I thought that was the death of me. So that wasn't making good contact right there. So I cleaned it up a little better. I mean, it was already clean, but you see the track there on it? Right where it landed, it was still not quite right. But now it is. So if we reset it, and this will be a good test because I moved it off of it 2 or 4 times just now. That's how it ought to be. Okay, so let's see if we can find anything else wrong with it. This says advanced bonus, and it says 3,000 when lit. It's not lit. but it gave me 3,000. No, it gave me 300. Okay. And it's advancing the bonus. All right, spinner says 100 when lit. So that's the, what do they call it? The exception that proves the rule is that it must be 10 when not lit. It says it right there, actually, 10. So if it's 100 when lit, that tells you the exception that proves the rule is, the exception of that is when it's not lit, it must not be 100. Right? So it must be 10. Oh, it's working beautifully. If you could only see it the way I see it. Okay, this says extra ball when lit. I don't know how to light that yet. Oh, I guess the flag. Ooh. Lights the center target if you hit that. 3, double bonus. No, none of those are the extra ball. How do you get the extra ball? Maybe you've got to build it all up. I guess I could read the instructions. Right special target and extra ball lane, light when bonus reaches 19,000. Okay, when bonus reaches 19,000. So let's see if that happens. One more. Yeah. Okay, so extra ball when lit. If I hit this switch, it ought to give me an extra ball. And it did. Now you'll notice you didn't hear anything else. It just turned on whatever it turns on to make that happen. So now if I lose the ball, I should get to shoot again. It should stay on ball and play 3. And it should give me 19,000 points. We're at 56,370. So we should be at 75,370. And I should still be on ball 3. We're at 75,370 and I'm still on ball 3. So it worked perfect. This says flips flag 1 when lit. This says flips flag 4 when lit. They both did it and they both gave me 100 points. We've gone about as far as we can go. There is not that much left to do. These say 1,000 in advanced bonus. That's exactly what they're doing. Now you may have noticed that once it gets past 10,000 and starts going by again, some of these didn't light up quite right. That's because at that spot on the bonus unit, it's not completely clean. So we need to go back and clean that a little bit more. We need to check the flippers. This says 5,000 special when lit. We're at 77,570 right now. Now we're at 82,570. We need to still check the special. But it all looks pretty good. There's one more. It says flips flag and advances bonus when lit. Oh, that was the 4th flag. Okay, we already did that one. We've checked about everything. We just need to play it a little bit and make sure that nothing screws up. And then we possibly need to clean that disc unit a little bit whenever it gets up to 13,000 or so on the bonus. So let's try flipping it and see what the flippers are like. I need to oil the shooter lane too. It's not super smooth. Right here. No, it's past that. It was back before it. We've also got the wrong legs on it. And it's hanging hard to the left. Because the customer didn't bring the legs, we just put some used ones on it that we had, and they're not adjusted all that well. At 300. I can't tell if that 300's working. We'll try it by hand. I'm just going to hit it fast as hell and see what happens. So we're at 22,590. Okay, it just delays a second. It starts something running and then it does it. So listen what's going on. It goes dung dung dung. You hear that, right? It goes dung dung dung. So that what you're hearing is the score motor turning in a weird way. I'll show you on the schematics what it's actually making happen when we hit that. When you're playing it, the ball's down here by the time you hear the dung dung dung, so it's kind of confusing. It doesn't score as soon as you hit it because of just the way the score motor is wired. I'll show you on the schematics. All right, so there's the center target that we're hitting, and it turns on the center target relay. The center target relay holds itself on with a switch on it until the score motor opens when it gets to on position 10A. The score motor switch opens at some point. So the center target turns on the center target relay. The center target relay will then close this switch, and depending on if the light center target relay is on or not, it will either send voltage, when it gets voltage, through this side to the 100-point relay, or through this side to the 1,000-point relay. Is that right? Yes, it's a 1,000-point relay. Okay, so that's working, but why is it going dung dung dung? It's because the dung 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 that you're hearing is because that's each time that this switch is closing on 9A on the score motor. So as the score motor starts turning, this is going to going to close 3 times. And when it does, it sends power through. Dung. Then it opens again. Then it does it again the next time it closes. Dung. Then it opens again. Then it closes one more time. Dung. And so what you hear is dung dung dung. Right? But let me show you what's significant about that. When that switch turns on the center target relay, a switch closes on the center target relay because it's been pulled in, which sends power to the score motor. So as soon as you hit that switch, it turns on the center target relay, which starts the score motor. That's the that you're hearing. That's the score motor running. So you saw the score motor in there when we were working on it. It has all these little cams on it. Cam 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And depending on which one of these cams the switch is sitting on, it will open at a different place or even a different number of times. So if it's on the first cam, if it's a closed switch, it will open one time at the first position, the 0 position. This is just basically a second run through, right? So it'll open one time and then be closed the rest of the time. Or it'll be closed one time and then open the rest of the time. They're blowing me up on my messenger right now. So that's how that one's wired. And then there's another cam that's wired to do the same thing on the first position. And there's another cam that's wired to do the same thing on the second position, and the third, and the fourth, and the fifth, and the sixth. You see how they're all different? And then the 7th. It's so that depending on when you want that switch to open, you got a position on one of those cams to do that. You may need this switch to open before this switch, so you put one on that cam and one on that cam. Or you may want it to hit 5 times, so you get 500 points. So to make it score 500 points, you just put the switch that sends power to it on this cam. Bam, 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 bam. Or this one actually does it 6 times. Bam, 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 bam. I'm not sure what that's for. Maybe they're using it to reset something or something, whatever, right? But here's ours. 3 positions. So when it turns on, just because of where they have those 3 switches or the 3 divots in the cam adjusted, it turns it on, and you're starting here, and it goes ding, ding, ding. Stops there. So ding, ding, ding. It's because of the place they have the 3 switches. If they had the 3 switches right here at the front, it would go ding, ding, ding. Or if they had them at the end, it would go ding, ding, ding. Right? So you can actually hear how the damn thing's working. Once you mess with it a while, you can kind of tell, oh yeah, they got the switches laid in the cam on that one. So just stuff like that's fascinating. The way they designed it and the cool little things that they thought up. Wonderful, marvelous mechanical machinery. All right, so I've been testing all of the scoring. Everything's rolling over on all 4 players and scoring correctly. So I need to do a little bit more cosmetic stuff, like to the apron. The flippers I need to work on, make sure they're not adjusted right. Like this shouldn't be hanging where it hits that bar there, right? It should be more like this. So I need to mess with that. I did oil the shooter rod. And we need to work on the chimes. They just don't sound great. So I got to do a little bit of that stuff. We've done that in a million other videos, but I'll be back in just a second for you. And we'll play it a little bit just to make sure everything seems fine. All right, folks. So I have worked on the flippers. I have done some cosmetic stuff, and we're going to play it a little bit. There was some other little minor things that I've messed with. I think we're a lot better now. By the way, just having the glass on a machine makes it play a lot better. It just does. And it's not just the sound. It plays more solid. Oh, okay. It also we put new leg levelers on the legs and adjusted it, got a nice slant on it. The customer didn't bring us the legs, so we've got just some of our little shop legs on it here, but we cleaned them up and got it all where it's nice and, we believe, level. Ooh. It's a cool game, really. I can see why it was such a big deal. The flags is a great gimmick. That was also in Flip Flop, if you haven't played that one. All right, ball and play number 5. We've got 40,000 points. Nice little spinner shot. Whoa, nope, nope. Nope. I don't want to lose it. Keep missing that shot. All right, so there we go. What a beautiful machine. That just looks like pinball, doesn't it? Bally's Wizards. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave your comments below. Let us know what you think. We're going to play it a little bit longer and then let the customer come check it out and pick it up. Now, I was just mentioning Flip Flop. The little flags that are on here was on another game called Flip Flop, which is awesome. I'm pretty sure we've done a video on that. So I'll put that video right here so you can check out Bally's really cool Flip Flop pinball machine. So we'll see you on the next one. I hope you liked it. Give us a thumbs up for taking the trouble to film it for you, and we'll see you on the next video.